resurrected back to life. Done my time and served my sentence. Dress me up and watch me die. If it feels good, tastes good, it must be mine. Dynasty decapitated, you just might see a ghost tonight. And if you don't know now, you know. I'm taking back the crown. I'm all dressed up and naked. I see what's mine and taken. Sometimes we fight. Oh yeah, the crown.
All right, you hear the music, you already know I have been summoned. Demon Phil is here, and we have got a hell of a show about to happen here with a great guest ready and waiting. We're not going to keep her waiting too long on this one. I will say that I changed up my background a little bit for this one because apparently whenever we summoned the demon here, we actually summoned a vampiric cat. I don't know if that was by mistake or by grand, duel there, but we'll see what happens with that. It's going to get interesting around here. So let me go ahead and introduce my guest today is LK Ingino. We're going to be talking about a vampiric cat called Fang.
Hey Phil, how you doing?
What's going on? How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Excellent, excellent. Well, we're going to get to talking about Fang here very shortly, but I want to give you just a moment. Go ahead and let them know who you are, what you do, where to find you. Give them that pitch.
Sure. So I'm LK Ingino. I'm a speculative fiction. Trying to talk too fast. I'm a speculative fiction and comics writer. I also write poetry under my full name, Leanne Kathleen Ingino, just to keep a little bit of division in the genres there. And yeah, I've been doing comics for I guess it's 3 years. I can do math sometimes, so yeah. But you can find me at LK Ingino at LK Ingino or at Headless Gnomes, which is my publishing company name.
Excellent. And I will say that we're going to have some issues. I know we're both of us are going to have some trouble speaking because we have a telepathic vampiric cat at that. It's not just a vampiric cat, so it kind of roams through people at times. And of course, you have actual cats. I want to bring that up first and foremost. That on your campaign, I love seeing that you had the actual cats pictures up there. Oh. And I see where you get that inspiration for Fang.
Yeah. They do cuddle and some of them have bitten me, so yeah. I still love them.
I have a few cats myself, and that same thing. They'll actually, all lovable, and all of a sudden they call it love bites. Sometimes those love bites get a little too rough, and you're like, hey, I wanted to keep that arm.
Yeah.
But they're fun. I mean, they're good pets to have and everything, unless of course you've got Fang, which we're going to be discussing because Fang has got Fang reminds me a lot of Brain from Pinky and the Brain. Trying to take over the world.
Yeah.
But it's the way that it's being done because it's not. It could be a very, very dark story in this. But it's actually very lighthearted, very funny, the way that you came up through with this. And it has got gorgeous scenery in there. Is it Elizabethan period in there?
Yeah, it's kind of like mid 1800s Victorian kind of style. Yeah, it's definitely a fictional world because I didn't want to have to deal with doing, I don't mind doing research sometimes, but I was like, we're gonna, it's fictional. But I wanted to keep true to that look at the very least.
Exactly.
That feeling of like this is when it's set, even though it's not, it's not our world per se.
And while we're talking, I'm going to show off some of the pieces of art on here while we're going ahead and speaking as well. So I want to go ahead and start off with, who could say no to a just nice, gentle cat? I mean, how can you say that this is actually, a comic that's got a darker side to it with a picture like that? My question is, how do you come up with Fang? How did you come up with a vampiric cat? I mean, that right there is totally different in itself because you hear a vampire, everything else, but a vampiric cat just hasn't been out there before.
Yeah, not that I've seen. I think somebody maybe said there was one other somewhere, and I can't remember where. I know there's Bunnycula.
Yep.
A vampiric bunny. So pretty close. I mean, in the same like pet realm, small, fluffy, cute. This was just actually, so this cover is something, an image that came to me one night, and I just found it really interesting. And I don't know, maybe one of my cats incepted my mind or something. Who knows? But yeah, so I kind of actually built the story around this idea. And at first, Richard was going to be very much kind of like an Alfred, like, you know, Batman. But I was like, oh, I don't want him like. There's got to be some protestation. So he doesn't want to be in this position where he's enthralled to Fang. It's not a fun thing for him.
Well, especially because you've set it up to where in this world that not only is he in a position that he doesn't want to be in there, but his love interest that's in there is on the dinner menu for Fang,
yes.
Which is interesting. It seems like a 80s sitcom at times. It is great how it's set up in there. And, you know, whenever she comes to the door and he's trying to get her out of there and just slams the door in her face, and she just thinks it's the worst thing in the world that, you know, something happened to him or whatever, that he's just upset with her, and he's just trying to keep her from getting eaten. It's interesting how you did that and how you go about playing that around there. And I want to go ahead and let everyone know, as we're going ahead and talking about this, this is the Kickstarter. The link is embedded into all the feeds, but don't go over there until the show is over with, because we want to get all the information out there. But I'm going to tell you right now, she has been generous enough to go ahead and give you issue 0. You can go ahead and read that so you can get an idea of what's going on in the realm of Fang over there, and then go ahead and jump on and get issues 1 and 2 on the campaign, because you definitely want to go ahead and follow through on that. But it is a fun ride that is on there. I cannot deny that. I'm going to hold back a lot of spoilers from some things on there.
Right. Yeah.
But it is definitely one of those that you kind of read, and the sarcasm. I can't get around how much sarcasm there is in just the right places.
Thank you.
Which makes it very fun, because you get to the point you're starting to read it going, okay, I know how the cat's going to react, or how, you know, that's going to happen. And then all of a sudden it goes a whole different direction. You're like, wow, I didn't see that one coming. So you definitely have something there that's good to see and good to go with on there. And everyone needs to go over there and check that out. Once we get to know a little bit more about Fang, and not only Fang, but Fang's creator, which, you know, we have right over here today. So let me ask you the next question on here is, of course, you've got about 3 years, you know, experience on here, and you've done some other work. And I noticed that pretty much if it's got the name Cthulhu in there, you like doing work on there with some short stories and things, which is awesome. And that keeps you busy, because there's a lot of Cthulhu stuff out there.
Yes. Yeah. There's a new one that just opened submissions. I was going to try to not do anything for like a couple months, but that might pull me back in. So
yeah, it's got a way of doing that. Just whenever you think they're out, they pull you back in. Yep, exactly. But you've got a lot of work under your belt that you've done, and a lot of experience there. While you're doing all of this and you're creating your brand and building your brand, and it's only 3 years on this, what's your foundation? What have you seen has been the biggest foundation to go ahead and settle on to where you make it a success going into this brand?
Like in terms of theme and.
Correct.
Yeah. Well, I do actually have a comic that's more sci-fi ground. It's sci-fi-ish. It's not hard sci-fi, I should say. So I do like to genre hop a little bit, but it definitely keeps that kind of like a little bit of a dark feeling. And there's some humor in it. It's not the same as Fang, because there's not another, you know, vampiric cat in that one. And that's been a little bit of back burner just because of some stuff, but it will be out eventually. So I definitely usually have like a little bit of a tendril of something dark, something, you know, kind of there in the background. Sometimes something that's a little bit like weird. I would say some of my shorts follow that. I don't know if Fang follows that weird theme as much. I'm trying to be good about having them have some connection, but sometimes that, you know, you have that thing where I'm like, I just want to do this. And so I got a couple of those, but.
Well, that's always fun to do. And then, of course, I mean, talking about something that's different and that you call weird, I mean, I just call it different on that is you did a book called Haunted Haikus. Yes. Is awesome. It's how do I explain this? It's not something that you would go ahead and find in something else, some other prose that's out there. Like you said, you just take something that just comes to your mind. It could be something that's right in front of you physically, or something you may have watched a commercial about and seen something. I don't know. And it just gives you an idea and you run with it and made something in the haiku about it. It was awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, too many ideas, but yeah, and I think that Abby's art it's both fun and a little bit dark and also cute. So even though we have like some dark haiku, the art kind of makes it a little bit more fun. I don't know if I would say kid friendly, but you know, yeah.
Well, you can't always be kid friendly, but you know, with Fang, it kind of it walks that line. It's not. I mean, it's dark, but it's not dark enough where you open it up and there's gore and there's
Yeah.
no nudity, anything like any there. I mean, it still walks the line of you have an idea of what's going on in certain places, but it's not shown, especially with the killings, because there's a lot of people that coming up missing in the story.
The count's starting to go up.
Yeah, and in a small town, it's you kind of wonder whenever things are going to kind of go completely upside down and fingers are going to start getting pointed. But who's going to point a finger at a cat? I mean, that doesn't make sense. So it's going to get very interesting on what's going to happen with that. But how long of a storyline are we looking at with this? I mean, is this going to be like a 9 lives of Fang? We're going to have 9 issues.
So this first arc is going to be 4.5 issues. That's including that 0 issue. I'm just calling it a half. And then I'm overall planning on there being 3 to 4 books. But this first arc is going to be about 4 issues. So we're about halfway through on this first arc. Yeah.
Nice. So it'll keep going on now. So there'll be more.
I'll have a little bit, not forever, never. So.
Now, is there going to be a chance of Fang maybe doing some crossover promotion work with other books that are out there? Is there something else that you could see where Fang could cross over?
Potentially. I actually have a short in, well, that Kickstarter ended, but the Collective Halloween issue, I had a short. Now, it wasn't like in a different world. It was still Fang's world. So it wasn't necessarily a crossover, but it was like a separate book. There might be potential. It's not something I've considered too much. We have done some like cross promo prints and stuff like that, though, just to some cute little things.
Sometimes it's fun just to kind of open a book and see, a character in there that you're like, I know that character. I know what that's from.
Right.
Part really, unless you want to put a small blurb in there or something, that's it. Not even a full page on them, and it's like, ooh, okay, I see where this is going. And of course, it's going nowhere except for a one part cameo, and it's done.
Yeah.
Almost like a Seinfeld thing going on. But it's a great story. It's a lot of fun to have on there with it. You've got 2.5 issues, like you said, is going on here right now, with 0 being on there. And I'm gonna tell you right now, everybody, 0 is not an issue that you want to pass over just because it's the half issue. It's actually still got a full story in it. It's just not as many pages. That's the only difference.
Yeah.
The artwork is phenomenal. It reminds me so much of Sabrina the Teenage Witch. It also reminds me of an Alfred Hitchcock. I mean, if those two mix together, I could see something like that making what this is now. Because it's just dark enough, but doesn't show it. And then it's got just enough of the lighthearted and everything to show the, Sabrina stuff. So it really has a different feel to it, which is awesome. So in moving forward with this, do you have an idea for something that maybe would be like Fang's nemesis coming up in something? I mean, I know you probably can or cannot talk about things.
Fang's nemesis?
Exactly.
Now I'm trying to rack my brain because I know what happened. I have an outline. I have a rough outline for the whole thing, and I have a pretty, the whole first arc is pretty much that's solid. Does he have a nemesis? I mean, Richard is kind of actively trying to, I don't know if plot's the right word, but he definitely wants to get out of this situation.
Right.
So I would probably say that Richard's the biggest one.
Which is ironic because he's still got control over Richard. So
right.
Even though Richard still fights it, and it's a struggle that you see on there that you almost feel. You get to the point where you're reading it going, I want to turn the page, but then again, I don't want to. And it's like Fang is trying to tell you, turn the page. So if he gets in your head, then there's no therapy bills that can go back to the man on this one. She won't accept it, I'm telling you. But it's the story is on there right now. It's on Kickstarter. It's been going for a little while. I believe you've got 14 days as of the recording of this right now. It's doing well on there, and we're looking for more of a push going into the last part. You're in that dreaded lull right now, which is always the fun part. Which is why a lot of people reach out and start doing shows and start doing other things to try to get a little more attention on there. What is something that you have learned in this particular campaign alone that is something that you can improve on the next one, that maybe you saw something that you're like, ooh, I may have missed this and I can do this on the next one? What's something like that you looked at an improvement?
I don't know if this is something I learned this time, because it's kind of something I knew, but I rushed this one a little bit in terms of I usually pre-schedule a bunch of like social media posts, and right now I'm just kind of playing like do it on the same day. Which is definitely not my preference. It's hard to track actually how much it actually does affect it. I don't know just yet, and maybe after doing a couple more, I'll have a better idea of what's really affecting it the most. But I know I would feel better if I had stuff scheduled out. We did a special day one bonus this time that I didn't do last time, and I feel like that did well. Again, it's like hard to track for sure. Like, did people come for this or were they going to come anyways? I don't know. But I do feel like I do know that we did better on day one this campaign than last one. That much I know. I don't know. It's hard to tell what it came from.
Well, anytime you can judge where you've actually gotten an increase on there, that's definitely a success. And then you can just look at, how you want to increase that success each time and get that forward motion. You never want to go ahead and go backwards. And if you do, simply learn from it and you push forward, twice as hard the next time.
I do know that I want to try to figure out how to do a couple of higher level tiers next time. And I'm still not sure what to do. So I got to rack my brain on that one a little bit.
Well, one thing, and this is just a suggestion, is now you've got 2.5 books there. And, at the next one, you'll have, 3.5. You could do a retail tier, would be nice, because I can see where people in stores would love to have this in there, because
we do have a retail tier.
What's that?
We do have a retail tier.
Okay, you do have one on there? Do you have one of the higher end, like the 10, 20, that many books of it?
I think it's for 12, which sounds like an odd number, but it's like 10 of the main cover and then like 2 of like a variant, so they can get a little bit of variety,
See, I'm surprised you didn't go with the number 13 on there. You had your opportunity, you missed it by 1.
Maybe I'll just have to do that next time. Yeah.
Get your lucky number 13, copies here. That's the way to do it right there.
Yeah.
But it's good to have the retail variant of the retail tier is good to have on there, because
a retail special cover. Yeah.
Well, it's a special cover, but not only that, but it's almost like a never-ending billboard if you think about it, because not only are they going to have those for sale in their place, but they're promoting that they have those for sale, and therefore you get more eyes on your product, whether it's the current product or stuff you got coming up in the future. So it really gets eyes on your brand moving forward as well. So that's a good thing to have on there with that. Now, if you've got, with Fang is going and it's doing very well on here, and you're talking about the other sci-fi one that you have that you're wanting to work on again, what's your next project in the pipeline, and how soon are we looking at seeing you back up on the Kickstarter brand?
Right now, it's probably going to be Fangs 3, just because of life stuff. So I'm hoping for like 8 months, but it might be another fall release. So we'll see what happens there. But my goal is no less than a year apart. Is what I'm really trying for. Or that's like my max goal. My ideal goal would be like spring.
Right.
I'm not sure if it's realistic right now, though.
Well, sometimes things happen. So, it's good to at least have the goal, and then you can bounce around from there if need be.
Yeah.
Now, are you attending conventions or anything while you've got this going?
No. There's one I'm going to that's right afterwards, but I don't actually have a table at that one. It'll be my first time paneling, so I'm a little nervous.
What's the panel about?
Oh gosh, I wrote them down. They have me on a lot.
Okay.
Let's see. I have the list. I think I know where it is too.
And you said it's the first time they're bringing you on a panel?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how large it is. It's called LostCon, and it's a sci-fi fantasy convention that also has comics related stuff.
Okay.
and one of my friends is she's doing the programming, so that kind of helped. But that's it feels like it's a good end to and a good. I don't know if I want to call it a trial run. I'm gonna try to do my best while there too. But hopefully that can propel some stuff in the future, and also maybe give me ideas on what to apply for panels, because I haven't tried to actually apply for those on my own yet. So I'm not big on public speaking, so we'll see how I go.
Oh, there's no problem with public speaking. Just got to go ahead and just let it all rip and then go back going,
Yeah.
I apologize for everything I just said. That's all you got to do is just apologize right afterwards. You're okay.
Yeah. Well, I figured, you got to do it, and then hopefully it'll get better. So,
oh yeah,
that's the only way to do it. We had The Dark Side of Fantasy, Creating Your Own Comic, Basics of Comic Book Writing, Importance of Diversity in Writing, and Art of Poetry, since I just had a poetry book come out. So
nice.
I can talk on that too. Yeah.
So you do have quite a few that you're going to be on with that.
It's a full schedule.
Exactly. So you're just going to sit in the same seat for the entire con?
I wish. No, I don't think. I think only one of them is in the same room, and it's on different days. So.
Oh, okay.
I'll be running around a little bit.
There you go. Well, it'll be a great experience whenever you're doing that, and you'll be able to meet up with some other people and be able to have some discussions. Which that's the best part, is whenever you can actually have discussions about things without chairs flying around and just people talking. It happens every once in a while. I know people who are watching this are probably going, "That actually happens?" Yeah, it does. We can do this without chairs. See, we're doing this right now. No chairs are flying around in here whatsoever.
I'll be the one ducking. I don't know if I can pick them up. So.
But I mean, it's a great experience to have that, to be on the panels, because it's a good thing to have different perspectives that are on there. Sometimes, a lot of times, we get the blinders on with our own projects and go, we see this on there, whether it be the good or the bad. We only see that, and we can't see outside to see fans' perspectives and publishers, or if there's a store that's looking at it or anything like that. You can't really see those kind of perspectives unless you open up the viewing perspective there, and panels tend to do that. So I got to ask, how did you come up with the name for the gnomes? That's I'm still kind of giggling over here, but in my research, I'm like, that is the coolest name ever, but I got to find out where it came from. So
for headless gnomes, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah. This was one of those brainstorming things where I just wrote down a bunch of different ideas, because I do, I do write speculative fiction, so it's mostly horror, sci-fi, fantasy. I wouldn't say there's mystery in some of my stories, but I don't write mysteries I wouldn't be like in the mystery section in a bookstore, for example. There's some mystery in Fangs, but that's not where it would be shelved if it was a novel or something. So I wanted to think something along those lines. And then, because I do, in at least like 85% of my stories, there's a little bit of humor. There's a couple that are just like, nope, we're just going straight dark here, but most of them have a little bit of humor. So I felt like that. Well, I don't know. Headless Gnome. Yeah, I mean, I think gnomes most people associate with being kind of silly, and then the headless is a little bit dark. Doesn't necessarily scream sci-fi in there, but what are you gonna do? There's only so much I can put in there. I don't remember all the ones I came up with, but I do think one or two that I really liked were already websites. So, like to take that into account and try to have something that's not already out there, ideally.
Exactly. And that's definitely something that I'm sure you're going along. You're like, that's taken. Headless is not taken. Oh, headless gnomes. Yeah, we can do that. That is something that I'm sure gets a lot of attention whenever you are doing conventions, whenever you're going, what is this? What is this about? Because it screams something different. It's something that stands out more. And you want to definitely do that, because the cookie cutter style thing has just kind of been way overdone. So it's good to have something that really stands out.
And I get, it's interesting. One of the things that I get at conventions that I didn't get on the Kickstarter, probably because only backers can comment on the Kickstarter. But at the convention, I'm asking people, hey, you like cats, you like vampires? And then people will be like, no, I hate cats. And I'm like, well, you can hate Fang. It's cool with me. It's really cool. You can hate him. So that was something that I didn't get going into the Kickstarter, that now I've and some of them come over when I say he's a villain, and others are just like, no, I'm good. And I'm like, well, all right, okay,
Well, I mean,
I'm not going to force you to.
luckily, you can go about it either way because you can have them come up and say, "Are you a dog person or a cat person?" Either way they answer, you can go ahead and you know,
Right.
be able to cater to them. Because if they say they're a cat person, it's a done deal. If they say they're a dog person, tell them, "Hey, if you want to see what happens to a vampiric cat who gets way too much into his way and bites off more than he can chew, pun intended, then
Right.
this is the book for you." So
Yep.
there you go. And dog people will be like, "Oh, I'm all over this one." You'd be barking up the right tree.
Right.
I did it. I know. Dad jokes are included in here. They happen every once in a while.
I do get people who hate gnomes, and it was interesting. One guy got the sticker because he's like, "Oh, they're headless," so I don't like gnomes, and I was like, "Well, okay, sure. I mean, they can take their heads off and they're totally fine, but sure, we'll go with it." So.
Only if they're headless. I mean, why do you got to be? You can't just pinpoint one style of gnome. It can be all of the different ones.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have fun with it. You got to be able to joke around and have fun with the fans that are on there.
Yeah.
I got to ask, what's one of the biggest, the most memorable experiences you've had doing a con and having people coming up to the table and interacting with you on these?
I really liked San Diego Comic Fest because it was a smaller one and probably the one that I've done the best at. I've only done 3 so far, and we'll see how next year goes because it's definitely, I can't do like original art, so that's a little bit harder for a writer when you're there. I mean, I guess I could write somebody a haiku or something, but I don't know. Maybe I'll try that next time, see how it goes. I still think the art's going to be more popular. So I really like that one. Although I did not like that we had to take things down every day. That was not fun.
Yeah, no, that's not. No.
Yeah. San Diego, or no, WonderCon. There's a lot of people cosplaying, so that was kind of fun. And one guy, I want to say he was Jason, came up, and so he, he killed me. So that was interesting. That was fun.
Nice.
Actually, I have not watched Jason and Freddy, and I mix them up sometimes.
I mean, there's always time to go ahead and and binge and get caught up on those stuff too. So
I could, yeah.
While you're writing, have that in the background, and then there's no telling what you'll end up writing about it. That could end up being the nemesis.
Yeah. We'll just have to alter enough of it, though.
Exactly. Hockey mask? No, we won't be wearing a hockey mask. Wearing some other kind of mask. Yeah, we can do that. But I mean, and it's fun to have that and being able to be a writer and go in there and take something and then just disassemble it, put it back together without some of the parts in there and see how it runs. And that kind of seems like what you're doing with these things, and it's working in the way that you're doing it because it comes up completely different than the original concept, but it's also an original concept by you now. So it's not something that somebody can come up to you going, "That's my idea that you took from me." You're like, "No, you didn't get in this way."
It is actually amazing, just kind of like how ideas work. And theoretically, there's somebody out there who had, I mean, they're not the whole thing, but maybe they had vampire cat, right? You don't know, because it's just it's amazing the number of things I see where I was like, oh, I was thinking of something like that, or I hear somebody else and like, yeah, I thought of this, and then somebody else came out with it, and it's kind of crazy how that happens. Whether or not you believe in like collective unconsciousness type stuff, like there's a lot of coincidences.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So I try not to worry about it too much because you kind of just can't.
Yeah, I mean, you really can't, but it's definitely, I don't know, it's got a feel that I've seen a lot of things. I've talked to a lot of people and everything, and this doesn't have a feel that anyone else has out there, which is great because, like we were saying, it's a one of a kind. Somebody who goes into a convention or somebody looks online or watches the show and goes, I don't have one of those books in my collection. I need that. Guaranteed you're going to say that because you don't have one of these in your collection unless you have this book.
Right.
There is no, copycat version, pun intended. I did it again. I know, I'm terrible. I'm holding back as much as I can, but it's getting painful over here. So how do you go about choosing what short stories that you're going to do in anthologies and things? How do you go about? I mean, I know if it's got Cthulhu, you're there, but some of the other ones.
I mean, budget is always a consideration. There's always that. There's always, okay, can I fit this in? Budget comes before time because usually with a short, it's a little bit easier to fit in time wise.
Right.
Once or twice, I was like, no, I don't have enough time right now. This looks cool, but it's going to stress me out more than is like worth it, you know?
Right.
Especially if like I learned about it last minute or, you know, who knows what. So those are some big considerations. There was one that sounded really cool. I think it's on Kickstarter now, or it was recently, the Stupid Kids anthology.
Yeah, I think that was just recently. I don't think it's going still anymore.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, and it sounded really interesting. And in part, I don't have a great memory. And then the other part, I was like, I don't know if I did anything stupid enough to I don't know if I got anything for this. So sometimes I'll look at something and I'm like, I have an idea.
Right.
And other times I'll be like, this looks cool. If I get an idea, I'll do it. Or I might force myself to try to come up with something if I'm like, oh, I really, really, really want to be in this. And then I gotta like, you know, get things in gear, push myself to force that idea engine. So yeah, but I generally, you know, anything in, you know, sci-fi, fantasy, horror, that sort of thing. I love Wonderland and Neverland and stuff like that. So I try to get on those when I can anyways.
And there have been some very interesting variations to those stories here recently. I've been very happy because, again, the cookie cutter thing just doesn't go for me. If you're going to tell the same story over and over again with different art and maybe change the character's name by 1 letter, 2 letters type thing, doesn't quite do it. But whenever you do it where it's a whole different story, you take Neverland and put it in space or something. It's like, okay, I'm interested. What's going on here? And they've been doing really well from what I've seen on here. So I can see if you're actually interested in that, you've definitely got enough material to choose from out there to get on those.
Yeah.
So how does someone go about, if they're looking for a writer, how do they go about getting a hold of you to go ahead and say, hey, look, you know, if you got some time, I've got this great idea. Would you mind doing this? How do they go about doing that?
That has not really been a problem for me thus far. I feel like it's definitely artists who get sought out more. I've seen a couple posts calling for writers though, but they're fewer and far between. Or the people who do get asked, they've been around a little longer usually. But you know, I got contact info on my website, so you know, always have that there just in case.
Exactly, and we do have that embedded in the links as well. So you know, don't everybody get too excited out there. We got an easy way to get a hold of her to find out whatever information you need to get out there. But right now, the main information is, of course, that you want to go over there and you want to find, let me get back up here again, the Kickstarter, which again is in the link, so you can go over there as well. Fangs and Foul Play, and this is issues 0 through 2, so you can get completely caught up on what's going on in here. I have got to say that whenever you go over there, I want y'all to look on there and pick out your favorite tier and then reach out to Leanne and tell her why you enjoy the tier. The way that this campaign was created and the way it's set up and everything reminds me of like a dinner menu type thing. It's very interesting how it is. So I'd like to know how other people are kind of seeing that as well. So as you choose things, let her know why you chose. Let her know what kind of drew your eye over there to it. It'd be very interesting to see that and to see what is actually drawing the eye a little bit more and for what reasons, because she doesn't do things the normal way. And it works. It works very well on there. I mean, whenever you got a vampiric cat, you can't be super serious about this thing. It doesn't happen. But you definitely need to go over there and check this thing out and see what's going on with it and see where you stand on, you know, going ahead and backing this thing. But the most important thing before I get, you know, turn this over to Leanne to go ahead and talk about this as well, is use the power of that finger, the correct one if possible. Hit that share button and go ahead and get other eyes on this thing. Not everyone can financially support absolutely everything out there. I know I keep going to support groups, you know, telling them that I can't support everything, and I apologize for that, but it just can't happen. I only have so much blood to give.
Too many good things out there.
But it costs you absolutely nothing to use the power of that finger to hit the share button. So you go out there and hit the share button. More people get interested in what's going on. It gets more eyes on there. That spotlight is increased, and before you know it, that vampiric cat's going to have everybody in his claws. So definitely go check that out. See what's going on with it on the share button, and get some more people over there, and let her know what you think about the campaign and how it looks and all. But I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Leanne right now. Leanne, go ahead and let us know, why do they need to go over there? What is it that's the draw to fangs and foul play? I'm going to give you full screen on this one.
Okay, all right. Yeah, well, Fangs is a super cute cat, so, we got that. He's not very cuddly, so please don't try. Don't give it a try. He might bite you. And so we're on issue 2 right now. I have complete catch-up tiers, so you can get caught up. You can get issue 0 for free by signing up for the newsletter. So if you're not sure, that's a great way to check it out. See if it's of interest and if it fits you. And I don't have it on the campaign page. I should put it on the campaign page. We have a theme song, and the composer just did a really cool little video to go along with it. It's really awesome. So I should ask him about that, see if I can get that on there. I don't think I actually did the elevator pitch for the story, so I'll say that really quick. So Fangs and Foul Play is about a deserted colonel who he's left the war because he wants to not have to keep committing atrocities, only to find himself enthralled to the vampiric cat Fang, who is, making him commit more atrocities and finding more victims to feed. So even though Fang kind of steals the spotlight a lot, Richard is actually the main character, and we're all kind of rooting to see. Well, I don't know. Some people are rooting for Fang. So you can root for Fang if you want to, I guess. But, we're supposed to be rooting for Richard to not have to, kill people anymore or something. So, yeah.
I'm rooting for Fang. Just throwing it out there.
I mean, he's the cute one. So
it is. It's a great story. It's a lot of fun. You need to go over there, check this thing out. If you like just great artwork with some, great time period in there, that of course, like she said, is not historically correct. So don't go in there and pick it apart. It's fictional. It's it doesn't exist except for in your mind. But also we're talking about a vampiric cat that talks through a human. So if you're going to pick apart the historical thing, you got to pick apart that too. So don't go there. But get over there, check that thing out. It's a lot of fun. The artwork is great. The panels are set up amazingly on there. The lettering, I'm telling you right now, everything is set up to the point where you feel like you're actually kind of a part of the storyline going through there, which is not very cool sometimes because Fang looks at you very hungry on those pages. If cats had lips, they'd be licking. So yeah, it is a lot of fun. So don't miss out on that. And also, again, this is going to be embedded into the feeds as well. The link tree for Headless Gnomes. I love that name. So get over there and make sure you follow everything that she's doing. Look at past copies of things that are out there. Her haunted haikus, definitely pick that up as well. All kinds of things that are all kinds of fun to get into, but make sure you share it out and let everybody else know what's going on over here as well, because I'm going to let you know right now, she's got 3 cats. No, I'm sorry. You got a 4th because you got a kitten now. Yeah. So she's got 4 cats over there, which is 4 times the amount of Fang power. So if you don't go ahead and start sharing things out, telepathically, her cats might actually reach out to you. You never know. Throw that out there. It's not a threat. I mean, I'm just, in her world with Fang, it could happen. So I want to go ahead and thank you very much for being here and being able to spend some time with us and talking to us about Fangs and Foul Play, issues 0 through 2 on Kickstarter right now. Nobody miss out on this thing. Go over there, have a blast with us, and let her know what you think about the campaign page, what you think about the tiers, and which one caught your attention. And if you do go ahead and back something over there and you've seen because of the show, go ahead and put in the comments over there, the demon sent you. And we'd love to see that on the comments so she can kind of let people know the demon actually had you go over there to a vampiric cat. That just sounds all kinds of messed up. It's all about what you summon. So you never, be careful about this kind of stuff. It'll get there. But thank you again for being here. Certainly appreciate it. And I'm going to go ahead and if you want to wait backstage just a moment, I'm going to go ahead and do my closing, and we'll be back there in just a moment.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me.
All right. All right, so we had Leanne up here talking about Fangs and Foul Play. Fun-hearted. It's a great story. Yes, it's dark, but it's still fun. It has a very dark and twisted sarcasm, sense of humor thing in there, which Demon Phil, come on, it fits this guy perfectly. So if you're into these kind of things, well, if you watch my shows, you're actually into those kind of things because I do this all the time. So go over there, check it out. I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, this thing, it needs to be having more people talking about this. So go over there, check this thing out, let them know what's going on. At the time this thing drops, we're going to be looking at just over a week that should be left on this. I would love to be able to see this go well above the funding that it already has, to go ahead and make sure that we're keeping on with this, because I want to see all these episodes and all these issues coming out. And I say episodes because I'm looking through the future on this, because I'd love to see this as a show. So get out there, check it out, see what's going on. And until next time, keep it indie, y'all.
Switch and watch them run.